The Japanese ordered the girls to strip for inspection in the cold. The matron guided the Japanese soldiers to examine everyone, finding a girl with sores. The girl shivered in the cold wind. The matron glanced at her and shook her head at the soldiers, signaling them to take the girl away. A soldier seized the girl's clothing as she smiled at her friends, believing she was being taken for treatment, only to be shoved into the snow. A Japanese officer approached. The girls covered their mouths in sheer fear, two of them wide-eyed in utter terror, as it was their beloved best friend. They never expected such unthinkable cruelty from these monstrous beasts. In 1944, Korea had been under Japanese occupation for more than 30 years. Jong-fun's poor family could only do handiwork for the wealthy Young-ae family. Young-ae was a wealthy young woman with lavish clothes. Jong-fun felt inferior seeing her beloved brother return, especially with the shiny leather shoes at the entrance. Jong-fun quickly fixed his hair and bent to greet him. Young-ae looked down on his behavior. Jong-fun's father was taken by the Japanese years ago and has since disappeared. The entire family depends on his mother, who can't afford to send Jong-fun to school and must prioritize giving potatoes to his younger brother, still in school. Jong-fun, feeling unfair, sneaked a bite just as Young-ae's brother walked by. He not only gave Jong-fun a book, but also cleaned the potato from his mouth. This made Jong-fun's heart race. Upon arriving at school, he envied Young-ae, who was fluently answering questions in Japanese and praising Japan. While washing shoes by the river, his shoes fell in but were saved by his brother, who was passing by. While they were casually chatting, Young-ae approached them with interest. He knew Jong-fun's intentions and cautioned him against unrealistic aspirations. Young-ae hurried home as the Japanese returned to capture people, witnessing her brother being taken away in a vehicle to serve as a soldier. Jong-ae parted her hair and climbed the hilltop. She waved desperately at the mountain, giving her brother a final farewell. At this moment, Jong-ae naively believed that her brother was just taken away for training and would return to work at a bank. Jong-ae skillfully recited her father's Japanese name when the teacher asked. The teacher slapped her, warning her never to forget her roots. Jong-ae remained unconvinced and was slapped again. On the way, she told Jong-fun that she wanted to go to Japan to attend the best school, so she could see her brother and find a good job afterward. Captain Jong-fun's mother expressed a desire to go to Japan to see her brother. Her mother claimed that the Japanese had no good people. Her mother planned to pawn valuable items in town to boost the household income. Young-ae joined the Japanese Women's Volunteer Corps to go to Japan. He excitedly saluted the Japanese army. However, what he didn't know was that he would soon regret it deeply. A sleazy man stopped Jong-fun, offering to take him to Japan with promises of good food and drink. Jong-fun recalled her mother's words and believed no one was good. He ran away quickly. That night, when mom didn't come back, a creepy man broke into the house and took Jong-fun away. Many Korean girls, including Young-ae, were violently forced into a truck by the Japanese. Confronted by Jong-fun, she recognized the danger and desperately yelled at the Japanese soldiers, claiming her father worked for them and that she was headed to Japan for studies. However, her pleas were met with violence as the soldiers attacked her. In the carriage, no one appeared to be there willingly. Some, like Young-ae, were tricked, while others, like Jong-fun, were captured. Watching the train speed forward, she had no idea where they were being taken. Jong-fun thought of her mother and brother. The next day, mom finally returned home, but the two children were missing, and she anxiously shouted for them. The frightened girls were transported to Mudanjeong by an old, rusty truck under the cover of darkness. Afterwards, everyone was locked in a small dark room, starting a hellish life. Each time the door opened, they would suffer another torment. Jong-fun quickly adapted here, even bowing in gratitude when receiving medication. This infuriated Young-ae, who scolded him for lacking backbone, saying she'd share her food. Young-ae became pregnant, leading to only two possible outcomes: abort the child and keep working or face execution. The old woman attempted to administer medication, but Young-ae resisted. Jong-fun tried to persuade her, but was ignored. The elderly woman was struck forcefully and then restrained by two soldiers. The elderly woman persistently pushed the bitter medication down her throat, sternly warning Jong-fun to keep a watchful eye on Young-ae. If she were to die, you wouldn't be able to survive either. Jong-fun slapped him, and Young-ae finally fell silent. Jong-fun woke up to find Young-ae missing and hurried to the nearby river. At the river, Young-ae smashed the ice with a large rock and headed straight for the hole. At that moment, Jong-fun caught up, and he quickly hugged Young-ae, who insisted on committing suicide and told him to stop caring. Their argument soon attracted the Japanese soldiers, who dragged them back by their hair and threw them into a room. Coming to his senses, Jong-fun thought of Young-ae and called her name through the wall. The drug's effects were evident on Young-ae, causing blood to flow down her legs. The Japanese soldiers outside told Jong-fun to be quiet, so he gently tapped on the wall. Young-ae soon woke up and, using all her strength, confirmed she was still alive by knocking back. Jong-fun was crying at that moment. Young-ae gazed out the window at the bright blue sky, realizing she had to keep living to ultimately escape her troubles. That day, While sunbathing, Lindsay brought a mooncake. Young-ae couldn't bite into the mooncake due to severe mouth ulcers after the abortion. Lindsay chewed it up and fed it to her. Young-ae was in tears, never imagining that the once pampered young lady would end up like this. Young-ae felt she couldn't go on living. She took out the book her brother had given her, hoping Young-ae could teach her to read. From that point forward, Lindsay would sometimes bring food for their new activity. The three often ate together, chatted, and sang. One day during their routine checkup, the opening scene occurred. Lindsay was shot dead, and then they were forced to wear nurse uniforms and take a photo with the Japanese soldiers. That night, when Young-ae was getting medicine, she happened to see the photo from earlier. Hearing someone approach, she quickly hid it. It was two Japanese soldiers who had received orders to go to Iwo Jima to support the front lines. They needed to discard all local supplies, which confused Young-ae. The following day, the camp began a celebration while the housekeeper discreetly spoke to the Japanese soldiers. Sakura didn't hear what he said. After the celebration, all the girls were taken away by soldiers, with Japanese girls going one way and the others going the other. Sakura sensed that something was amiss and that an event was imminent. While everyone was drunk, let's find a chance to escape. As the two girls conversed by the roadside, a Japanese soldier unexpectedly turned and began firing at them. They quickly fled into the woods and continued running through the night, desperate to find a moment to rest by dawn. Young-ae encouraged Jong-bun to persevere. Suddenly, she experienced a sharp pain in her already blood-soaked shoulder. To avoid alarming Jong-bun, she quickly concealed the injury with her clothes and took Jong-bun's hand to keep moving. Young-ae told Jong-bun that when they got home, she should marry her brother. She would no longer oppose them. Jong-bun no longer felt worthy of Young-ae's brother. Young-ae decided to start lying, telling others they were becoming nurses. The nighttime treatment is excellent, with warm blankets, great food, and good sleep. Young-ae needed to rest, so she let Jong-bun continue alone. Jong-bun noticed her wound as Young-ae showed her a photo and urged her to remember the people in it. Jong-bun hesitated and turned back only to finding Young-ae had already lost her breath. Jong-bun had been walking for more than a year and felt he might not continue much longer. He saw a small cabin ahead. When he returned home, his mother and brother were already gone, and he didn't know where they had gone. Jong-bun sought help at the aid station, receiving a 500 yuan subsidy for returning from out of town. Jong-bun was kidnapped, leaving no record of him. So he used Young-ae's name. Although he received 500 yuan, people would point and talk about anyone returning from abroad. Jong-bun left his hometown and never returned due to unbearable circumstances. He spent his life unmarried and searching for relatives, but never found any until one day he got news. He discovered his beloved brother alive in the snow, reminiscent of his younger self with him. Then he was called back home by his mom for dinner. The movie Snow Road ends here. Recently, I discussed a film about comfort women titled Ghost Town. A commenter questioned why the women didn't commit suicide if they knew they were being taken to a comfort station. What specific message would you like to convey to these people? Alright, if you want to see more great movie commentaries, please follow me. Bye.